Elder Scrolls Legends is a CCG, a collectible card game first released for Windows in March 9, 2017, initially released on Steam, iOS, and Android shortly after. Upon its original release, the initial impressions were generally positive. Some examples reflected by articles on both Metacritic and Game Informer, RIP, and the player population that has persisted to the time of this video. This game had a lot of things going for it that made it a complete package. A competitive and quite frankly dominant and sophisticated PvP. One of the first to introduce a deeper layer of strategy in CCG versus by having players contend with 2 lanes versus 1, with the new lane having a layer of cover when you played a monster there. In addition to different arena settings that invited and encouraged players to duel in different ways, and a complete single-player mode, Elder Scrolls Legends hosted plenty of gameplay variety with regard to the different cards and lane effects, an extremely high skill ceiling that, again, at the time of this video, still has players competing both casually and in the rank ladders month after month, years after it's been in maintenance mode. In the month following the original release of ESL, this game has not only received card expansions, but single-player story DLC expansions as well, expanding on the lore and characters in the Elder Scrolls universe. The story content that launched with Elder Scrolls Legends consisted of 2 chapters, The Heroes of Skyrim and The Fall of the Dark Brotherhood. The Heroes of Skyrim story served as a tutorial for players, the first story expansion where they could unlock staple cards such as Thorn Hiss Mage and Blackworm Necromancer, all the while learning about the different styles of play, the mechanics, and the overall flow of the turn-by-turn strategy-based combat. The Fall of the Dark Brotherhood was the second story expansion that arrived with the game in April 2007. And with that, there were 6 episodes, 6 chapters, I guess for lack of a better term, and 40 cards that were released. Best known for introducing the Slay and Charge mechanic, The Fall of the Dark Brotherhood introduced a lot of cards that are considered staples in builds to this day, as well as utility cards that provided attribute-based builds more flexibility. Cards such as Fell the Mighty gave strength builds more removal for strong opponent monsters. Blood Sorceress gave intelligent parts a bit more access to burn damage with her effect. And Falkreath Defiler, who originally served as Monster Reborn in Elder Scrolls, being able to fully resurrect creatures from the graveyard, a powerful effect before he was nerfed. This video will go over my top 10 cards I feel that were released in the Dark Brotherhood and their impact on the game as a whole. This list is subjective, in my opinion, so please use it as the foundation for praise and or criticism, but don't go too hard on me as this is my first top 10. With that out of the way, my name is Sly. Let's get it. This is the top 10 cards of the Dark Brotherhood, and starting off with number 10. Starting off the list is Brotherhood Sanctuary. Alright, so this is one of the 2 official supports for Slay builds. Brotherhood of Sanctuary is a 1 core support that simply doubles the effects of all Slay creatures. This card provided the energy for Slay builds to overwhelm and overpower opponents, as a lot of Slay effects can really start to get overpowered when they start doubling the effects per attack. You have your basic cards, basic Slay effects where you get 1/1 to attack and defense, but you also have Slay creatures that generate items to your hand or generate keywords for your creatures. A lot of people give Yagum's Workshop a lot of shit because of how chaotic the card has been for Elder Scrolls Legends, but I smirk and just sometimes look at Brotherhood and like, yeah, you kind of started it first. You was the first one to kind of double the effects, but no one really says anything to you. Now, unfortunately, outside of doubling the bonus effect for Slay creatures, this card does nothing else. It doesn't provide any defensive or offensive buffs, any sort of protection overall for creatures of value outside of activating, again, a Slay effect. So this card is staple for all Slay builds that I see in ranked. I wouldn't play a Slay build without this at least 1 copy in it. So this card is a staple for a reason and has easily earned the top number 10 spot in this list. Let's move on. Number 9, Stealer of Secrets. This is a 6 cost, 1 attack, 1 defense, intelligence based high elf that has ward and a summon effect of increasing his attack and defense by 1 for every action in your graveyard, or excuse me, Discard pile. A simple card, but is a key card or key player for action-based builds. Decks that run every action to destroy or remove opponent's monsters on the field, or just cards overall that's on the field, then summoning Stealer of Secrets afterward to attack with a high attack buff from the effect. Once your opponent is low on resource, you're going back and forth to control the field. After that point, that's when Stealer of Secrets is primed to come out, usually at a very high attack. I'm talking 15 attack and up. Please note that this card combos very well with Mentor's Ring, allowing other creatures you have to gain ward if you equip it to Stealer of Secrets, or if you have another creature with charge, you can equip that creature with charge and give Stealer of Secrets charge, and he's able to attack with that huge attack the same turn that he's summoned. Underrated card as a motherfucker. The only drawback is, well, obviously a seasoned player can spot an action focused deck and possibly prepare for him in advance. Again, looking at the stats of this card, once he's silenced, he's neutered. At a 1/1/6 cost, he's a waste of space once he's silenced on the field. And unfortunately, later on, as more expansions were released, other cards from the 6th spot overall for intelligence saw this card pushed to the side. For example, Alfie Conqueror is a card that's more played now than Stealer of Secrets just because of how powerful it is and how much attack it can drop at 6 costs. Not saying Stealer of Secrets is not played, it still has its place, but cards like Alfie Conqueror make it more easier to kind of pile on that aggression. So other than that, still an OG solid boss monster and worthy of the number 9 spot on this top 10 list. Let us move on to the number 8. And he is Cicero the Betrayer at number 8, the king of slay draws. Sorry, Palmer or Renegade, you my dude, but the literal lethal on this card puts this over the top. 6 cost, 1 attack, 6 defense Imperial. A creature with a slay effect that allows you to draw 2 cards with his effect. Also, in addition, he can attack your own creatures, just giving you an additional option to activate the effect. Now, on his own, he packs a lot, but combine him with the Brotherhood of Sanctuary. 1 copy allows you to draw 4 cards instead of 2. That pretty much replenishes your hand from a 0 point. The fact that he has lethal guarantees that he can collide with almost every creature barring Ward and Alien Guardian. This card is not only a lifesaver from strong creatures, but he allows you to replenish your hand. The balance being his cost being at 6. However, his attack at 1 makes him combo well with Ordinary and Necromancer, allowing you to easily resummon him from the grave to reuse his effect. Let's not even mention the certain action cards and items that combo with him to pretty much help you target creatures from different sides of the field. This card is unique for a reason. He is strong, and with the powerful +2 draw effect, he is balanced by having that high cost, and also specifically at 1 attack, he is obviously dead if he's silenced, but he's also prone or a target for execute, so he does have a kind of built-in Achilles heel, for lack of a better term, considering his attack. But honestly, with his effect, I've had situations where I overdraw so much with this card, more than any other card in Elder Scrolls. That's how good this card is with regard to replenishing your hand. Easily number 8. And now we move on to number 7. And that is the Night Mother. This card is a 2-cost support that allows you to summon a 0 attack, 1 defense target on your opponent's side of the field only. This card is primarily used as slay fodder, allowing you possibly free kills with a 0 attack creature that you can summon once per turn at your preference. It's the second effect that's included that makes this card truly a unique legendary. If you can kill 20 monsters while this support is on the field, you gain 20 life, you draw up to 10 cards, and your opponent loses 20 health. Now, every single one of those effects is beneficial. You gaining 20 life, even if you're at 1, puts you right back in a very comfortable place. When you're drawing up to 10 cards, you're pretty much filling your hand. And the combination of your opponent losing 20 health, respectfully, that part is really the most powerful when you think about it. it shifts the duel around. That's how powerful this card is. You gaining 20 life and your opponent losing 20 health switches the duel pretty much in essence, assuming it doesn't outright KO your opponent. Oftentimes when the duel is going long, where it's like maybe turn 15, turn 16, this card can proc and you don't even notice it until it happens. I've placed the Night Mother at number 7 on this list, as this card alone has provided so much opportunity for Slay creatures to activate their effects while providing one of the most powerful bonuses in Elder Scrolls Legends. Yes, one of the most powerful bonuses, if you are able to pull it off. Remember, you get all of this for 2 cost. That is why this card earns the number 7 spot. And moving on to number 6. Now this one is a bit unique, and the number 6 spot goes to Dark Guardian. Now, the reason why this is a bit unique, it's sounding mad hypocritical, he's a rare card. He's a 3 cost, 2 attack, 5 defense skeleton with guard. Again, a rare, as he's used as just a defensive option, but his package overall with his effect makes him one of the most highly used cards in an aggro or mid-range build. Dark Guardian's effect allows you to draw a card if your opponent draws a prophecy card from his rune being destroyed. For aggressive players, aggro players, this was one of the cards that helped provide the benefit of helping to replenish your hand as they kept applying pressure attacking their opponent. One of the biggest flaws for an aggro build is running out of resources, i.e. cards, for you to play. Dark Guardian was one of the earliest cards in the game that made aggressive players just go plus and maintain a defensive presence with 5 defense as guard. Literally a strength to help cover up a weakness. 5 defense guard that lets you draw a card if you break a rune, a prophecy rune. His attack at 2 is what makes him balanced, as an execute can easily remove him from the field. I mean, if you silence him, you're still dealing with the 2-5, and in an aggro build, they can work with that. Orc Clan Captain and Relentless Raider easily benefited from his presence. He simply slotted in so well. Outside of that, this creature required a decent attack size creature to get through his defense, and at the time there were few cards that could stand up to 5 defense that cost 3 and below. A guard but a fucking powerhouse, mixing great flexibility with defense and guard, decent early game attack, and a great utility with this effect. This card earns the number 6 spot as an easy to play but powerful presence for the early game. Hands down. Number 5 on our top 10 list, and that goes to Quicksilver Crossbow. This is a 3 cost item that gives your monster 1 attack and 1 defense and allows him to deal 1 damage to any creature on the field, or your opponent directly. This card is ranked high on this list just for that utility. At 3 cost, it doesn't provide a huge stat increase with it just being 1/1, but it's allowed you to touch any creature your opponent had in play, even if it's hidden in the shadow lane. The benefit of this card cannot be understated. This was one of the early cards that Slay could use to pick off weak creatures in opposite lanes and touch creatures that were hidden. I need to be very clear. Quicksilver Crossbow served as an extra attack for Slay creatures. His effect, in terms of the item, let major Slay creature do 1 damage to a creature in the field. If your creature had 1 defense, it died, your creature was able to activate the Slay effect. More specifically, if you put him on a lethal creature, it can use it to pick apart any creature on the field. This is a combo that's used even outside of Slay. For example, Fighters Guild Recruit equipped with Quicksilver Crossbow can pretty much target any creature in the field and kill him. It's a combo that is still used today. Also note that this is helpful as well with Drain and Pilfer, depending on the conditions. So this card had a lot of flexibility that honestly has no limits considering the combination with Slay, Pilfer, Drain. You get what I'm saying. This card is literally a staple in lethal and archer builds overall. Hands down top 5. Dead or alive. And we now move on to the number 4 position, the number 4 spot. And that goes to Blood Pact Messenger. He is a rare willpower 2 cost, 1 attack, 1 defense Khajiit. A playset of this card is awarded for completing Skooma Den, which is one of the chapters in the Fall of the Dark Brotherhood storyline. The premium version can only be obtained by soul summoning this card, which is only possible after the completion of Skooma Den. Blood Pact Messenger is one of those perfectly balanced cards you wish was available in other attributes. Seriously, if he was blue, Telvanni and Dagoth would be broken, straight up. His effect allows you to draw 2 cards whenever he pilfers. No catch. And that's the main reason why he's powerful. With Master of Thieves in play, he can attack twice. With Unrelenting Siege, allows him to also to attack twice. You can apply Crusader's Assault to him and he can draw an additional card for the Slay or an additional card on top of that if he's able to pilfer and break through. +2 overall is fundamentally powerful in Elder Scrolls Legends. A 2-cost creature having that as a pilfer effect is broken. What balances Blood Pact Messenger is his end effect, where he destroys himself the turn ending in which he used that pilfer effect. Not to mention his stats. He's at 1 attack, 1 defense, so practically any creature can kill him if they can catch him before he attacks. And of course, the usual culprits of action cards, Firebolt in particular, can easily dispatch him. This card gave Pilfer, Move, and Khajiit builds overall early draw advantage if played right, and again is a staple in those types of builds. Honestly speaking, he's short and sweet. There's not much to it. This card is perfectly balanced and easily makes the number 4 spot. Alright, so now we talking playoffs right now. These are the top 3 right now. I mean, it's not really playoffs, but there's the playoffs right now. These are the top 3 cards of the Dark Brotherhood. And yeah, we're going to definitely start to close out this list with a very clear and refined staple card, Sanctuary Pet. 3 cost, 2 attack, 2 defense, lethal spider that has an included summon effect of shackling a creature in the same lane he is in. A lethal creature whose summon ability is to shackle their opponent. Now, there are plenty of lethal cards. There are also plenty of cards that can shackle. Sanctuary Pit is the only monster that pretty much was in the game with both effects included in one. Utility is a card I use often if you've watched my videos. You can have a powerful effect and you can have a powerful attack, but if I can't take advantage of either, then it's not very beneficial for me. Sanctuary Pet provided many legend players flexibility from Archer to Slay, mid-range, aggro. There are so many builds that just simply can benefit from just having this card in the hand. From the shackle to the lethal, there is pretty much very few cards that can escape Sanctuary Pet's control. Those 2 functions, if I'm being honest, those 2 functions in one make him the perfect defensive card. Combine him with cards such as my number 5, for example, Quicksilver Crossbow, and you can start to see how the possibilities can extend farther. You can shackle a creature, use Quicksilver Crossbow to kill another creature, and then you have the next turn to attack with that lethal creature. Honestly, there's really not much else to say with this card. It's another absolute staple in Elder Scrolls Legends decks, and a card that I wish they would have re-released as an epic purple tier. It's just that fucking good. Now, before we get to the top 2, here, I wanted to top 10 first kind of go over something. I just realized it's been a while we in this video, so I like to first ask that please give this video a like if you've been enjoying the content that I have created for you. It does help me and the channel out a lot. I will want to give this time. Like we in the playoffs right now, so I want to give some honorable mentions right now because we in the playoffs. Yeah, I said it. Yeah. All right, on a serious note, I want to give an honorary mention to a few cards that I couldn't really fit in this list, but I wanted to just give a little bit of attention to. Number 1, the Markman, a 1 cost, 1 attack, 1 defense Imperial. This card provides you a neutral guard and has helped accelerate a lot of token builds. Mind you, tokens pretty much had access to many cards that could help allow them to swarm the field. Followed it up with Divine Fervor. You pretty much had your army. Markman provided so much flexibility and power on turn 1, not giving you just a 1-attack creature to start the duel, but you also got a free 0-cost defensive option in your hand to use at your convenience. Token builds, this is one of the key cards to open up with to start aggroing your opponent, and it pretty much still sees significant play today. Second honorary mention goes to Underworld Vigilante. A 5-cost, 4-attack, 1-defense Wood Elf. This card not only served as a closer with a built-in charge effect, she has the additional ability to remove cover from creatures, so she can actually serve as emergency removal to kind of attack creatures in the shadow lane. I didn't include her because there are so many charge options in the 4 to 5 range, and I'd argue some of those, such as Cliff Racer, are more reliable as they have a more solid defense to match their attack. However, with her being able to effectively remove cover and with 4 attack just directly challenge any creature in the shadow lane, I wanted to include her in this list. And the last but not least, the last honorary mention that goes to my man Falkreath Defiler. I was absolutely sad when they nerfed you. RIP to that wonderful Yugi ass effect. With the honorary mentions out of the way, let's move on to the top 2. Number 2, Garnag, Dark Adherent. A 4-cost, 4-attack, 5-defense orc. A legendary unique card with a 1-of-1 effect. Fuck you. No, I'm kidding. His effect reads that neither player can have over 7 magicka, ever. Which for me, when an opponent plays this, is basically saying the same thing. Those 2 letters, F you. His effect persists even if you break a rune. I need to be clear, he is the only monster card in the game that prevents all 8 cost and higher cards from being played. At turn 8, it can be an inconvenience. At turn 12 and up, he can debilitate your hand if any of them are high cost. He puts magicka to 7, so you're limited with how much you can play to begin with. He limits your options past turn 7, so you have a limited option and flexibility to begin with once it starts getting past turn 8. The fact that he's an orc provides that archetype another MVP of just synergy of cards to play with and boosts his attack and defense. However, his effect is beneficial for any playstyle that wants to hurt you as the turns pass. An aggressive player's dream, this card is and was the ultimate stop sign. He's not the strongest in terms of stats, but at 4 or 5 in terms of attack and defense, he's sufficient. Him being an orc gave him synergy to boost his stats with other orcs. So yeah, the number 2 card of the Dark Brotherhood, and I could argue top 10 cards of all time strength wise, as he simply shuts down playstyles altogether with regard to limiting the amount of magicka that you can have. An absolute game changer in every sense of the word. Now for the number 1 card of the fall of the Dark Brotherhood. For the king comes the crown. Unstoppable Rage, the most powerful effect of the fall of the Dark Brotherhood and one of the most powerful momentum swings in Elder Scrolls Legends. I have personally got my ass handed to me by this card on many an occasion. This card allows you to choose a creature and deal damage to his attack in the lane that he is in. He is beneficial for Slay decks, allowing one creature to generate effect multiple times depending on how many creatures are in the same lane that he is able to kill. If you have a lethal creature and you activate Unstoppable Rage, it can potentially kill every creature in the lane, yours included, shadow lane or not. This card was key for Slay builds, or is key still, allowing players the ability to fully clear a side of the field while generating bonus effects if it had a Slay effect. At 8 costs, this at first seemed balanced as if it was a high cost to activate it, plus you had to have another creature on the field with a decent enough attack to pretty much kill every creature there. Initially, this card saw niche play as not everyone with access to Rage could play it properly. What makes this card number one now is the effect this card has had on the overall state of the game, not just the state of play. There are two keywords that have helped elevate this card into one of the big bads that any strength player would splash in. The first word, Magicka. There are many cards now in the Endurance archetype that increase your max Magicka, allowing to more easily activate this card on later turns. Treeminder, Archmages, His Speaker, and of course Archie and Venomtongue. However, the second word that has made this card really OP, borderline broken, is Breakthrough. Breakthrough allows your creature to deal piercing damage against their defense, afflicting that difference directly to the opponent's life points. Unstoppable Rage gave Breakthrough creatures the ability to not just hit, but pierce and inflict all the battle damage directly. I need to be clear, depending on how high the attack and how low the defense is, Unstoppable Rage can serve up damage that downs your opponent just off of one play, at full 30 health. Pure Blood Elder alone feels like she was made for Rage, as her effect doubles her attack and gives Breakthrough once your Magicka gets high enough. A later card, but still. And not just her, Belligerent Giant is also a main culprit of sleeping opponents who set up weak guard in its lane. Unstoppable Rage respectfully changed the game, giving opponents with large Magicka pools a devastating way to clear a lane and possibly deal direct damage at the same time. Even barring Magicka and Breakthrough, Drain is another favorite combo that helps to replenish your life while removing enemy threats. Later cards such as World Eater's Eerie, Uncano, Unstoppable Rage became a card you can literally create a deck alone from with how powerful it is to close out a match. Easily one of the most powerful action cards in the game and the number one card of the Dark Brotherhood. Legends, I appreciate y'all making it to the very end of the video. Please let me know what you think and if you agreed with the list. I'd really appreciate knowing what your thoughts are in the comment section below. I made this list based on the impact it has, not just to certain decks, but the overall state of the game as well. So I look forward to listening to feedback on this and processing it so I can make the next video better. I do plan on doing another top 10 video. So again, if you've enjoyed the video, please leave a like. If you haven't enjoyed it, please leave a thumbs down as well so I can do better for next time. If you're really digging the videos, please consider subscribing, as I will be doing another top 10. It will take me some time because I got to research and kind of generate the recording gameplay, yada yada, but it's going to be on the way. So Legends, everyone, appreciate y'all tuning in. See y'all on the next one. This is Sly. Cheers.